half the problem for Israel are Iranian missiles, and the missiles are not nuclear, and Iran can build very good missiles, and it has Israel economically paralyzed right now. There are no airports open, business isn't working. Iran can keep doing that for quite a long time. And as it threatens, it's quite good in the past at terrorism. It's blown up a synagogue in Argentina. I mean, it can hit Jewish targets, American targets, all over the world. So this is not a decision to be made lightly, I think.
Two questions this morning. The first, will Donald Trump send American bombers to attack Iran's nuclear bunkers? The Wall Street Journal says that a plan for attack has been approved, but the president is still waiting to decide whether to put it into action. The second question, what will the UK do if he does? President Trump laid out his case for action against Iran.
The bottom line is they can't have nuclear, and maybe it'll end very quickly. But there's no way that you can allow, whether you have to fight or not, you can allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon, because the entire world will blow up. Not going to let that happen.
And for once, the president didn't seem to be looking to do a deal.
We're not looking for a ceasefire. We're looking for a total, complete victory. Again, you know what the victory is. No nuclear weapon.
There's also been a warning from Lord Hermer in this country about the legality of any potential UK involvement. Well, as the president said yesterday at the raising of his brand new flagpoles at the White House, I may do it, I may not, nobody knows what I'm going to do. Let's assess the probabilities of that potential attack with Steven Erlanger, the chief diplomatic correspondent in Europe for the New York Times. Good morning.
Good morning.
Where do you think we are this morning? I mean, we've heard the back and forth from Donald Trump overnight. He's been pretty robust in his views on Iran, but he seems to be holding back in terms of military action.
Well, we're in the middle of a Trump drama. He likes to be unclear. He likes to be the center of attention. He likes to decide, as he says, at the last minute. He's under quite a lot of pressure, actually, from within his own base. There are lots of people, including his vice president, J.D. Vance, who say, why do we want to get involved in another Mideast war? Look what happened in Iraq. Look what a mess that turned out to be. Look at Afghanistan, which at least was more justifiable. Last thing we want to do is get into a war with a great big Middle Eastern country. It's not a militia. It's a real country with a long history and a lot of patriotism. And on the other side, I mean, Trump is very attracted to what he thinks of as a simple solution, that Israel's done quite a lot of the work, and then he just presses a button, and of course, like in Top Gun, the bombs go right down the right hole, and it's over. Well, things are rarely over. So he's being pushed on both sides. I think his temptation is to do it and take advantage of it. But frankly, the consequences are unclear, and that's being made clear to him. I don't see Iran surrendering. He wants ultimate surrender. But what does that mean, and what does that feel like? I suspect at some level, Trump is still trying to use this threat as a means of negotiation.
As an off-ramp, in other words.
Yeah, I mean, to get back into talks. Now, the problem is Iran, if it suddenly gives up everything, will look very, very weak and will look like it's surrendering under great pressure. Maybe they can go back to Witkoff's idea of a phased out withdrawal with this consortium of regional countries producing uranium for civilian purposes. But right now, I mean, we're in a period of deep, deep rhetoric. And of course, let's say we do destroy Fordo, which is the deeply embedded Iranian nuclear site. You can't destroy the knowledge. And half the problem for Israel are Iranian missiles. And the missiles are not nuclear. And Iran can build very good missiles. And it has Israel economically paralyzed right now. There are no airports open, business isn't working. Iran can keep doing that for quite a long time. And as it threatens, it's quite good in the past at terrorism. It's blown up a synagogue in Argentina. I mean, it can hit Jewish targets, American targets, all over the world. So this is not a decision to be made lightly, I think.
And given what you said, the influences on Donald Trump, do we have any notion of of who might be the most influential voice in his ear? Will it be those on the MAGA side, on the domestic political side, who say, you promised no more wars, this is a bad idea, we don't have a way out of this conflict if we start it? Or will it be Benjamin Netanyahu, who we know that Donald Trump is speaking to on the phone every day, and we also know was fully aware that he couldn't finish this without American involvement?
Yeah, well, part of the problem is the goal keeps changing, right? I mean, if the goal is just to prevent Iran from having a nuclear weapon, there are lots of easier ways to do it. If the goal is regime change, which is kind of what Bibi Netanyahu really wants, that's a whole different game. And of course, regime change in Iran could be for the worse. It doesn't have to be for the better. So the voices around Trump, I think he's listening to Vance. The problem is his good friend Witkoff wants to do a deal. I think Trump in the end wants to do a deal. He still sees the threat of war as the best incentive toward a negotiation. But what he wants the negotiation to be is a capitulation. And I'm not sure the Iranians politically, morally, or any other way feel like capitulating right now. I think they feel they still have options.
Just finally, Stephen, does the US have the capacity to do this? Does it have the ability to enter a conflict with Iran? Because it won't just be one bomb into the Fordow facility. That will not be the end of it. Does the US military have the capacity and the stomach for what could be, a reasonably big conflict with Iran?
That's a very good question. I mean, no one's talking about ground troops, that's for sure. I mean, it's not Iraq. The big question is if the U.S. does Fordow and does it successfully, and it will be very hard to tell, but let's say that it does work. In the end, you could set back Iran's nuclear program by years, but you won't end it altogether because knowledge doesn't end. I don't think anyone's talking about an American military occupation of Iran. The question is whether the U.S. would be prepared to deal with the consequences. Let's say if Iran starts shooting missiles at American troops in Syria or in Iraq, if it starts trying to blow up energy infrastructure of Saudi Arabia and the Gulfies, if the price of oil goes through the roof, those are different, more second-order considerations, but that's really the consequences. I don't think anyone really is talking about a land invasion. And I do think the American Navy could keep the Straits of Hormuz open, which would be another likely Iranian response.
Yeah, it's so interesting. And when you start thinking about the implications of all of these choices, they are just so incredibly far-reaching, Stephen. Thank you so much for your time this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Steven Erlanger, the chief diplomatic correspondent in Europe for the New York Times.
And the Times is reporting, they've got a live blog on Iran-Israel up this morning. Israel had a hospital hit in Beersheba in southern Israel. Video posted on social media showed a direct hit on the hospital from an Iranian missile with the sound of impact and a mushroom cloud billowing out the top. The emergency room, from pictures posted, appeared to have sustained damage. So that's an Israeli hospital hit, really, as dawn is breaking over Israel this morning. And there's video footage of that. The Israel Foreign Ministry announced at about 10 to 6 this morning. So we'll keep an eye on that. I mean, it doesn't necessarily change anything, but it'll be another moment in the conflict.